Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Well, good afternoon. Happy Sunday, October 12th. It's nice to see everybody. We are doing this show on Sunday, which we're not going to take this spot for our political show. This was just, I got lazy on Friday and decided not to go forward with our show Friday afternoon. And then Saturday is the play date for Delilah. So I knew I wouldn't be able to get to this show until Sunday, and kind of here we are. So I decided to start a little early because I'm moving quite along in my day today on Sunday, and I had time now to do this show. I'm going to be kind of focusing on singular political topics, but for the time being, while we fill slots, you don't get lazy. Sometimes I do, believe it or not. Sometimes I do. I'm always busy, but as far as work goes, work, I get a little procrastination, with an exclamation mark. But I always am keeping busy, whether it's cooking or taking Delilah out or playing with her or doing stuff. I always do seem to kind of stay busy in my normal life without my job. So anyways, as you guys know, this is our newest channel. We're building this channel from the ground up, from scratch. And we're going to be talking predominantly about political topics. Right now, I'm kind of in a very biased, angry, I don't know. I'm just pissed off, okay? I'll be honest with you. I'm just pissed off. I'm pissed off at the world. I'm perturbed with the state of affairs for our country. And so I know that this channel is going to develop a little differently in the future, but for right now, I'm just a pissed off American. And my commentary is going to look like a pissed off American because I'm kind of tired of hearing people lying to everyone and everyone just taking it. Like, there's people that I highly respect that are like hook, line, and sinker with some of the BS that's out there. And it's like, you're smart. How are you not seeing this stuff, And so that kind of turns into kind of like the steel tongue or razor tongue where I lash out, and it's kind of one of those things. But at the end of the day, I'm angry. I'm angry here in America. I'm an angry average Joe. I know if I'm this angry, there's a lot of other people out there that are angry. And I just want people to see the truth. I do a lot of investigative work on true crime cases. I've done it for years. And I've also been a political advocate and activist. And my people trust when I talk to them or I tell them or I research, they trust that I've done the research. They trust that what I'm saying, whether I put a biased twist on it or make it my own or not, what I'm saying coming out of my mouth is true, right? And so I think that a lot of people don't understand politics. I think a lot of people don't understand why the government shut down if, say, the Republicans are, because this is the confusion that they like to keep people in. I don't think people understand how Republicans can have the power at the executive branch, the House and the Senate, and still have a government shutdown. It's because people don't understand things like that. So while today it's not going to be specific topics, so to speak, we're kind of going to be all over the board. We're going to be ending with our assassination culture. And that's going to kind of be the ending of the show today. But we've got a lot of nuggets just to put out there to show you kind of why I'm angry. We've got a lot of stuff going on that isn't right in this country. It's not just one thing. Guys, it's a lot of one things. It's everything. Like, it's everything. The attacks on religion, the attacks on you can't just have disagreements. You've got to be all in or all out. That's not true. Like, I had no position on the Palestine-Israel conflict. None whatsoever. I just wanted the war over. Right? I didn't hate Palestine. I don't hate Israel. I'm not marching in any protest for either or, unless it's an anti-war protest, then I'll be involved. But I'm not picking sides. And here in America, it seems like that is what is now required in order for you to want to talk about a topic. You have to be all in or all out. And in this particular scenario, we need to start learning. We can say, I don't like any of it. We can absolutely, put it like this, we could absolutely hate Palestine and hate Israel equally, right? Let's take the love out of it. Let's hate equally, right? We can hate equally and still not want war. There's no need to be protesting in American streets for crap that's happening over in other countries unless you're trying just to make a big deal over nothing, right? Because every time we have this conflict, right, even though it's not ours, what do? We end up going to Amazon and buying flags, buying shirts. It's a profit-making scheme. So unless they have these conflicts, unless they have these wedge issues, we're not spending money on these things. So they're creating this revenue. And trust me, the reason why I always bring it back, because let's be honest, every time we talk about anything, what does it always come down to? Power and money. That's what it always comes down to. It comes down to power and money. So we do have some good news in all of this. Our president, our beautiful Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump, is not disappointing. He's making deals. Even he's going around. Congress is saying, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. We're going to shut the government down. We're going to make it impossible. Let me tell you what our president has done. Our president is so wonderful. You guys heard me report that WIC is going to be maintained. We're not going to be worrying about WIC, mom and children and infants going without nutrients, which is what the Democrat Party wants. They want to apply pressure so we hand them over $1.5 trillion. That's what they're trying to do. But what did Donald J. Trump do? He is an amazing president, and he is the master of the art of the deal, period. There's no other better negotiator than President Donald J. Trump. And I am very, very thankful that he is negotiating on behalf of American citizens instead of we could be going against him, right? And that wouldn't be good for us, right? So we're very thankful that President Donald J. Trump is one of our own, and he happens to be the master of the art of the deal. And so now he has taken and pulled that power away from the Democrat Party because they're trying to apply pressure by why? Making us, going out there and saying, oh, the Republicans are not going to pay for the children. The infants, how dare them not pay for the infants and the moms, right? To apply pressure so we hand them $1.5 trillion. Well, we're saying no. So Donald J. Trump, what does he say? President says, you know what? We have all those lovely tariffs that these Democrat asshats didn't like. You know what? Let's take some of those tariffs and let's give it to the moms, infants, and children. And let's make sure that they're taken care of this 7 weeks. And you know what? Just like that, we have moms, infants, and children being taken care of. And so the next wedge issue is they have Speaker Mike Johnson up on a interview. And all of a sudden, this woman calls in, I'm a military mom, and my husband, he's been injured in the military, and my 2 kids, oh my gosh, my 2 kids, they need life-saving medication. They do. And if the Republican Party doesn't open up the government and hand over $1.5 trillion to the Democrats, my kids are going to die. And so, Mike Johnson, the professional. Yes, he's a professional politician. Yes, he is. And I know he's a professional. He's not my kind of guy, okay? President Trump's my kind of guy. Speaker Mike Johnson, no offense, Speaker Mike Johnson, all respect to you. You got too much of a stick shoved up your butt, okay? I don't like career politicians. I've never liked career politicians. I'm not one of those types of gals. But I digress. We don't want to be rude to the Speaker. The Speaker's been pretty good to us. The Speaker has been pretty good to the MAGA movement, so we can't really dog him too much other than saying he's got a stick up his butt, which he does. He looks like he's got a stick up his butt. If you believe Mike Johnson has a stick up his butt, you can put a 1 in the chat. Please put a 1 or a 2 in the chat. If you believe it's all in Betty's head, you put a 2 there. But I just think he's wound a little too tight. That's all I'm saying. Great guy, kind of, sort of. I never really liked him. He's just too much. He's too swampy for Betty, okay? Mike Johnson's too swampy for Betty. I hope that changes. But anyways, he had to deal with it. And the professional he was, he's like, ma'am, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. But we want to pay you, ma'am. We want to make sure you have insurance. It's the Democrats that haven't, without skipping a beat, right? And this woman, well, you know what? Let me tell you what President Donald J. Trump did, okay? He called Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, whatever his position is. He's the War Department now, Department of War, right? And so he calls up Pete Hegseth and he goes, hey, Pete! Yes, President? Well, I've been thinking about it over here at the White House, and we know these dirty-ass Democrats, well, they're just trying to make us look bad, and they're trying to pressure us. Don't you agree, Pete? Pete's like, yes, President, I agree. They're really trying to stick it to us and twist and make us feel the pain. Well, you got resources over there, don't you? You got some silos of money over there, Pete? Pete's like, hey, do we have some silos of money over here? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, President. We got some silos of money. All right, Pete. Well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take all that money and move it all into an account. And I want you to make sure your boys are paid, okay? We don't need mamas calling us up and saying their babies are gonna be dying if they don't get their prescription, right? And daddy's gonna go walk off the end if he can't pay for his bills, right? So President Donald J. Trump reaches out to Pete and says, Pete, pull all the money and get your boys paid. So now the Democrat Party's like, oh crap. They took care of the women, the infants, and the children. Well, we definitely got the military. Oh shit. We don't even have the military. We can't even put the screws to them to the military. So what the heck do we got? Oh, by the way, Senator Schumer, our House Representative Jeffries, by the way, we just fired 4,000 of your deep, swampy bureaucrats to boot. That is the man that knows what the hell he's doing. That is the art of a deal. They took everything that the Democrats were going to use against us to shut this government down, to force our hand to extort $1.5 trillion from our pockets and hand it over to illegals and foreign interests. And we did not do that. We shut the country down and we took care of every single thing that mattered. What's going to end up happening is we're going to be shut down for 7 weeks and not one of you are going to feel a darn thing. This was nothing but a smoke and mirror to make the whole world lose their shit for a whole bunch of nothing. You're going to find out at the end of all this, we shaved a lot of government positions, shrinking our government, pushing our way through the 7 weeks, making sure everybody that needs to have funds, that are desperate for funds, get their funds. And we shrunk government, and they got nothing. And the only things that were going to be closed down are our museums. Which, let's face it, unless you're in school, you're not going to a flippin' museum unless you've got a stick rammed up your butt. Okay, now I know some of you guys go to museums. You guys can smack me, I'll let you. I go in because I'm anti-library, and many of you guys don't know that. You guys, because we read so much of research, I'm anti-library. Like, I think every community should have a library there because I think it's important for our students to go to the library and, take those trips to the library. But I'm anti-library. Like, we've got 5 libraries. They want to build more libraries. I'm going to be protesting any more libraries being built in Manatee County. They're a waste of money. They're a waste of time. Do some people go? Yes, but not very many anymore. And if you funnel all them into one library, it'll be a lot easier. Maybe not as convenient, but it'll definitely be where your library will actually be getting some foot traffic. I do not believe in wasting money on brick and mortar buildings when everybody goes. Let's face it, when you do research, where do you go? I don't go to the library to do my research. I sit right here in this seat, right here. Okay? And if I'm not right here, I'm kind of in office too, with the TV going and this, but I'm still doing my research, right? Very rarely do I go in, and let's be honest, very rarely do you too. Now, if you are book readers, because there are book readers out there, people that just have to curl up in the corner with a book. An iPad, it can be the same exact book on an iPad as it is, but somebody just needs to flip the blessed pages, right? just needs to flip the blessed pages. So you're going to the library to get those books because you need to flip the pages. And nobody's going to hate you for that. I just think it needs to be done in one library, in one county, one community. I don't think we need 15 libraries throughout a county, okay? I'm anti any more libraries in Manatee County, just to make sure you guys know. But in addition to everything that President Donald J. Trump is doing for us, his administration has now officially lowered cost for Medicaid. They struck a deal. AstraZeneca, one of the first to come forward, and on Friday became the second major pharmaceutical manufacturer to announce it has agreed to lower the cost of prescription drug for Medicaid under the deal struck with the Trump administration that avoided threats of steep tariffs. Okay, again, art of the deal, peace through strength. That means us coming in there with a freight train and saying the only way we're going to quit, we're going to not destroy or obliterate this, is if you start coming to the table and playing ball. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? This bleeding heart that we have to take care of everybody at the expense of us. You know why your prescriptions in America have been so expensive? It's so that everybody else in the world can have cheaper costs. You didn't like it, did you? Every single person on medication is complaining about the cost of medication, yet everybody, at least Democrat side and liberals, they all want us to spend every penny we've got on some foreigners, some illegals, and everything like that. And you guys are complaining about the price of prescriptions right now, and we're paying the price of these prescriptions to make sure everybody in the rest of the world has cheaper costs. So if you don't like it in the prescriptions, do you think it's going to work with literally any other topic of conversation? Of course not. Yet we have the idiots each and every day out here pushing for us to take care of everybody under the sun. And we don't even want to take care of their prescription costs because everybody has been beating the crap out of everybody over prescriptions, right? But everybody knows that those prescription costs that we're paying is a direct result of us lowering the cost for everybody else. So you didn't like it with prescriptions. What makes you think you're going to like it with anything else? This is for the liberal people out there. Because you guys are the ones complaining about the medication. Yet you're the first ones telling us we need to spend it on everybody else but ourselves. Just saying. You know what? They complain. We give them lower medication. Do you hear them ever say thank you or applaud? Never. Where's our free Palestine? Palestine's free. Did you hear any of them applaud or say thank you? Not one of them. It seems so funny that everybody has a problem with everything, right? They're so offended by everything, but when it's resolved, you never hear a thank you. It's just on to the next complaint, on to the next wedge issue. What does that tell you? That tells you these people don't care about the actual mission, the actual topic of conversation, the actual protest, right? They don't care about it. They just care about the act of protesting. They only care about the act of bringing the chaos. They don't care what the cause is, just the chaos. That's what it shows us there. Because if it really was about the cause, they would be out in the roads celebrating Donald J. Trump for bringing this day to come. And they haven't. I haven't seen one person from the pro-Hamas movement, from the Palestinian movement, just get out there and say, thank you, President Trump. Yet President Trump just gave them every single thing they were demanding. Seems a little odd, don't you think? But AstraZeneca, that is a great thing right there. This is Speaker Mike Johnson. Sorry, this is the one I was talking about. That I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I think he's just a politician. Okay, Betty, get your head out the way. Okay, let's move him over here. I'm gonna move him over here so you guys can see. Maybe up here. I don't know what to do with it. My head's too damn big. All right, I'll make my head smaller. I hope that made the hate channels feel better. I'm just saying. I deflated a little bit.
You know, I'm a very patient guy, but I have had it with these.
Oh man, I'm back to. Hopefully, it's not echoing for you guys, but it's flipping echoing for me. Please don't tell me I'm in USB. I forgot to check my sound settings. Damn it. Give me a second. No? I'm on USB. So why am I... Huh. Oh, well, it sounds good for you guys. It just sucks for me. I don't know why I've got feedback coming in my ear, but I've got feedback in my ear with this. Oh, well. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and play it. I'll just deal with it.
People. They're playing games with real people's lives. The theory we have right now, they have a Hate America rally that's scheduled for October 18th on the National Mall. It's all the pro-Hamas wing and the Antifa people. They're all coming out. Some of the House Democrats are selling.
It's funny because they wanted peace between Israel and Gaza. They got it, and it's still hate America, hate America, hate America. You can never please these people.
T-shirts for the event, and it's being told to us that they won't be able to reopen the government until after that rally because they can't face their rabid base. I mean, this is serious business hurting real people, and I'm beyond words. I can't believe they're actually doing this. You know, I'm a very patient guy, but I have had it with these people. They're playing games with real people's lives. The theory we have right now, they have a Hate America rally that's scheduled for October 18th on the National Mall. It's all the pro.
Okay, so it must be recycle. I guess once you stay on it very long, it's recycle. But you guys get it. So it sounds like they're actually doing this in an effort to have this rally. They don't want to have to deal with their rally attacking them, you know, at the rally, at this public rally. Which in my case, I think it's bull. I think it's bull. You stand on your convictions. Listen, these people, you know, obviously they're being paid by somebody. Even the politicians. All of our politicians are getting paid by special interest groups and all types of things. That's why they go into Congress, right? There's very few people like President Trump. The one thing I liked about him is because he cannot be bought and paid for, okay? He can't be bought and paid for. He has entirely too much. Nobody has enough money to buy him out, you know? So I never worried about that aspect, and that is a comfort in this sea of just swamp creatures, knowing that this guy can stand on his own, doesn't need, and didn't take a dime from special interests through either one of his candidates' presidency. He funded that with the help of true blue Americans. Most of the donations Donald Trump got was $20. He had so much people coming in and supporting him and supporting his campaign. People have no idea. But he was working for the people. He's been working for the people. That was his campaign promise. You know, he's given up every single one of his check while everybody's been, you know, goes into this stuff to cash in on this or cash in on that. He's given up his money. He's shown the world he doesn't want this for you know, he's got money. By him trying to protect all of us, he's lost a massive amount of wealth. Do you guys understand how much money that man has lost trying to protect our interest? He didn't have to do any of this. He didn't have to do any of this. And people have, I mean, he's never broken the law, and then all of a sudden, because he became a politician, he wanted to do right by America, and all of a sudden they went after him and his family. They arrested him, charged him with felonies, lawfared the shit out of him and his family, tried to bankrupt them. Thank God no normal run-of-the-mill politician would ever be able to withstand what Donald J. Trump had to withstand. Nobody. And he did that for us because, again, you tell me why else he did it. everybody, oh, well, it's for taxes. That man has been paying tax. He's in the last stretch of his life. He's been paying taxes out the wazoo for literally decades. Really? So now in the last little bit, he's going to give him and his billionaire friends a tax credit as they go out and have one foot on a banana peel and one in their grave? Come on. Come on. People got to be smarter than that. He ain't doing it for any other thing than to save, because he's got grandchildren. He doesn't want his grandchildren to be slaves. And at the end of the day, the way we're going, the Democrats sold our country out to everybody else but us. And we were none the wiser. And now we're finding out all of this. All of this. It's quite scary. Quite scary, to say the least.
Not a single undocumented immigrant in this country gets a dime in federal taxpayer dollars.
$27 billion. It takes your breath away that they're spending this kind of money on people just coming to this country. What you want to get in the country too? If you could get free health care, imagine you realize you've got some kind of health challenge and you can't get it in your country. You almost die to get here just to take advantage of this loophole.
But American citizens can't get it. But we're fighting over American citizens because we can't afford insurance for American citizens. What makes us think we can afford 25 million immigrants?
We can't sit idly by and watch this grave injustice. Hakeem Jeffries is lying. This gentleman just made it clear. Armstrong is an inside reporter. He knows the details of what's going on in Washington, D.C. He made it plain for us that even in places like Planned Parenthood, they are taking in criminal illegal aliens. I support what President Trump is doing by rounding these criminal illegal aliens up through the support of ICE agents and Tom Homan and sending them back to their homeland.
Not a single undocumented immigrant.
So I don't see, there's a lot of people out here. There's a lot of people out here. There's one that I wanted to get to. Here it is. Yeah, this is it. Sorry, I had it out of order. Guys need to hear this too. Because you want to know why we had no choice but to force the overturning of Roe versus Wade, right? I mean, you guys understand why we had to. The states were getting too radical, okay? A lot of people don't realize that our body parts are worth millions of dollars, okay? We're each and every one of us in the medical field, we're worth more dead than alive, okay? To them. When they see things like abortions and stuff like that, you know why they don't care? Because every time there's an abortion, they make money. Lots and lots of money. And that's the sad reality is, I always believe that it is your body to an extent. But when this becomes a profit-making scheme and they make it unbearable for people to... Most of the reasons why people want to end or terminate their pregnancies is because of financial reasons, is because they can't afford to barely take care of themselves, let alone another mouth to feed. Not necessarily because they want to get rid of this child. They're looking at this coming from an illegitimate relationship, this being another mouth to feed, them just not having the answers. And it's not necessarily that they don't want the child or this is the only answer that or the only solution to their problem that they're being provided. And it's being provided by a place called like Planned Parenthood, where they bring people in and tell them all their options. And, this is probably the best option, right? And the reason why I go over this is because many people that fight for these type of laws, they never see the aftermath of it. They don't have friends that gone through it and totally regret their decision, or their friends that have turned into drunks and abuse substances because they can't shake the shame from them. They've ruined their lives when all they were trying to do was salvage their life, and people don't see the reality. They go out there in the streets and they sit there and promote, oh, my body, my choice, and many of them never have had to make that decision, and they don't know the reality and the gravity of such decision. And people like me that have had friends that have made those decisions understand the real reality of it. I understand the pain of it, the lifelong pain, the pain that never goes away 40 years later, that kind of pain. So, with that being said, I want you guys to hear it for yourself, because you guys would never believe that they're selling baby parts or that they need these abortions to fund these disgusting Frankenstein projects. But hey, since, it's hard to believe.
And getting these ladies to actually say this.
We're looking for livers and cardiac and those, yeah. I can get you without difficult to get on.
So this footage is being filmed by an undercover journalist. He goes to the National Abortion Federation's commercial trade show. This is being hosted at one of the biggest Planned Parenthoods in Texas. And this journalist is here to talk business.
Every time I do a meeting, I'm like, oh, there's some love. Yeah, you already know.
And this lady is Dr. Ann. She's the chief medical officer of this Planned Parenthood. And Dr. Ann is in the business of selling baby parts.
You have to come and play with our tissue. See if it's cool enough for you. I like tissue. We have a lot of it.
And they're all like, yeah, that's pretty profitable too. We get 5 to 6 samples a week.
Most weeks, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Do you see how happy that woman is? Without the abortion industry, she would not be able to make the kind of money she's making. So they're putting in women's minds. Now, mind you, these are all the same businesses that take care of women that can't afford to take care of their own health, right? So they're already the disadvantaged, confused of the of our population. They go to Planned Parenthood for prenatal care, and they're being coaxed into maybe an abortion's the best avenue for you to take. And next thing you know, the woman has lifelong injuries. They're making $100,000 off the baby parts, and nobody's the wiser of the racket going on. They think that these people really care about their health, really care about their well-being, and really care about saving them and talking about their body, their choice, right? It's all a racket, and people need to understand, people that fight like this, when people come together and throw a lot of money, there's got to be more to it than just, oh, they care about it. Let's face it, nobody really gives a crap about somebody they don't know, right? Very few give a crap about somebody they don't know. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. So when you have a corporation throwing money and wanting to protest and spending money on signs, well, we have to ask ourselves why. Do they really care about us? Or is there something more here? Because typically it always comes down to power and or money. And I think that that's the case here. This is all about money for them. Money. Now, we're kind of in an era, a very weird era in our country, where we're kind of culture assassination, if you will. If the left doesn't agree with you, or you don't agree with the left, they want to put a bullet in your head until you agree. They want to kill your entire family until you understand the way that they want you to understand. They want to use violence to control you. And every time we turn around, it's coming from one side of the aisle. Now, I'm not saying that some people don't say things under the breath or there's not problems on both sides of the aisle. I'm not saying that. But the predominant amount of people engaging in this kind of violent behavior and rhetoric is coming from a very defined group and a very defined side of the aisle, whether you like it or not. You can deny it, doesn't matter. I really don't care. I'm not here for your feelings. But at the end of the day, it's coming from the left. It's coming from the liberal and transgender left. They are the most violent people in our country. They are truly the problem with our democracy. And so here is a liberal guy named Jay Jones, and he wants to see his opponent not only dead, but he wants his wife to hold her children's hands as they die. Sick stuff. This guy's running for office in Virginia. And nobody on the Democrat Party has denounced his rhetoric or told him to step down. Can you imagine if somebody on the Republican side said those very same words? We would have protests and buildings being set ablaze right now had it been a Republican that said that. Why is it okay? And why does the Democrat, I'm talking about the mom and pops, the ones that sit down here with the average Joes, why are you allowing them to do this? Why aren't you getting on your platforms and denouncing this stuff? Why aren't you holding your people accountable? Why are you guys... Like, I expect it from the hierarchy. But the normal people down here with us, why is it okay with you? Why are we not hearing more people coming out from the Democrat Party, real people saying we've had enough, get your shit together. We're going to fire the entire Democrat Party if you don't stop this nonsense. Why are we not having more moms and dads of the Democrat Party, the grassroots of the Democrat Party? Why isn't there more people like that coming out? I'm just asking, because you need to. Your party is going downhill very, very quickly. And I got to be honest with you. I think your party is a national threat at this point. How many people have to die because they don't agree with the Democrat Party? How many people? One too many? No? Not enough for you? You need more? What? Just all of us dead so you could have free reign over the country, right? No coexist, none of that, right? Got it. Slimy, sleazy, disgusting people that sit here and try to say, oh, we can do this, we can do that. Interesting. Still, nobody wants to say shit.
Bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Gilbert is a politician, I think.
Hold on, let me go back.
In public safety initiatives.
Nope.
Is this the... Okay?
Wait,
the answer is absolutely yes. And again, let's go back over this guy's text messages that were leaked by a Democrat who was so appalled at the idea of this guy becoming attorney general that they leaked these. Okay? This is a conversation between that guy and this whistleblower. Okay? She says, they say nice things about everyone. He says, if those guys die, by the way, every time that he's saying something negative, he is talking about Republican state politicians in Virginia. Okay? I think one is the Speaker of the House and the other one was someone else, but 100% Republican politicians in Virginia. He says, if those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals and piss on their graves, send them out awash in something. She says, Jay Jones, he says, 3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Gilbert is a politician. I think that's the Speaker of the House, maybe, in the Virginia State Assembly, I think. I'm not going to look it up because it's irrelevant. It's a major Republican politician in Virginia. Okay, and then he says, spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. She says, Jay, please stop. This is obviously a person who is extremely good at also picking up on signs from people. You know, you're talking to a female and she couldn't possibly be more clear that she's uncomfortable with this position or this conversation, does not want to have this conversation at all. But he's going to keep going, right? He says, LOL, okay. It's like, do you know a lot of women that are interested in a conversation like this about hypothetical murders of people that you disagree with politically? She says, it really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death upon them. Okay. So at this point, they get onto the phone, right? They start talking on the phone. And during this conversation, Jay Jones tells her that he thinks that, what's the that he thinks that Jennifer Gilbert, so the wife of the Speaker of the House, Jennifer Gilbert deserves to have her children die in her arms. Okay? He says that. She asks him again. He doubles down. She hangs up on him.
These people are evil.
So then he starts texting again. Okay?
And he's visualizing this, guys. You know that.
The children of the Republican politician, and he specifically referenced them dying in the arms of his wife. Okay? Their mother. And she says, you were not simply asking questions and you know it. He said, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. Gaslighting. He's also a gaslighting person who has zero emotional intelligence whatsoever, or just doesn't care, or is so filled with hate and anger that he can't recognize the signs, even if he could otherwise. She says, you weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. He said, yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. Does that sound like a joke, you guys? Like, does that sound like something that he was joking around about? And keep in mind, we're talking about...
I just want to ask, like, you know, and the people that are keeping this man and saying, okay, yeah, you know, he should be able to stay in office. At what point is it not okay? Does he have to actually put a bullet in these children's heads before, you know, they take this seriously? And why wasn't he under immediate investigation if he's making these types of threats to an active House member seat or even anybody? Like, this should be a criminal investigation here. And they're like, oh, well, he's apologized for it. How do you apologize for something like that? I'm confused. How do you apologize for something like that? Like, that's in your heart, dude. That's what you'd like to do. That's who he is as a person. He cares more about policy than life. That's a problem for many of us. I don't know about you, but I got a problem with that. Got a major problem with that. And you know, there's a lot going on in our... Good gracious, I'm ready to break this thing right here. I don't know why this thing keeps coming back up, but I just need to go ahead and just delete it because it's driving me nuts. Hold on a second. There we go. Let me go ahead and get fair use out of there. Let's go ahead and get that one. Yes, delete. Okay, I'm back in the game. So we have a lot of corruption that's been going on in this country for literally years. If you guys don't know who this is Patrick. He's traveled. I learned of him back when Donald Trump was coming into office and everything like that. This man was attacked. This man went under investigation. I think he might even have been arrested as well, but I can't recall if specifically he was arrested. Byrne was arrested or not. But at the end of the day, he did some work for the FBI that I don't think many people realized. And the bottom line is Hillary Clinton is corrupt. Hillary Clinton has been corrupted. We all know that for years. There's a lot of dead bodies around that woman, a lot. And so many that it's hard to deny that she handles part of her problems, her dissent with murder. She has no problem putting out hits on people. This is not, salacious. This is not conspiracy theories. This is, I've got receipts.
Clinton on January 14th, 2016, right here in this town, on behalf of the FBI, they came to me around December 1st, 2015. They told me Hillary Clinton had accepted a bribe from Turkey for $20 million. They told me that I would be working for a group in New York, FBI agents, who had authorization to set Hillary Clinton up in a sting. They asked me to facilitate a bribe for her, an $18 million bribe from another government. The bag man from that other government I was to befriend, and I was to get that person 10 minutes alone in a room with Hillary Clinton. I did. On January 14th, 2016, Hillary Clinton was in this town, and she met in a way that was kept off her schedule. She accepted an $18 million bribe. But General Barr knows this. This is the Durham. They know this was what is behind it all. And I'll even tell you, I'm going to drop one more thing. I've been waiting to say this publicly, and this is what really happened. I will tell you, if you hear this and you give me 90 seconds, your viewers will understand what's happened in the last 5 years in America. I've been waiting to say this on mainstream TV, and they will not have me back because once they understood what this was about. I had Hillary Clinton, I caused Hillary Clinton, I facilitated a bribe, and she took a second bribe for $18 million. And I worked with the FBI as I did that. They're deeply involved in this. They came to me 3 days later and told me I had to forget about it and forget that it ever happened. And I said, what are you talking about? And they gave me one excuse. They said, Hillary's going to win, and it's been determined, it's been decided upstairs, nothing's going to be able to stop that now. So she's going to win, and she's going to send her people over to the FBI and ask who was part of investigating Hillary, and any of us who were part of it are going to be destroyed, and that includes you too, Patrick. And so this mission has been scrubbed from the highest level. But 2 or 3 weeks later, I was back with 3 federal agents this time.
So scrubbed at the highest levels. So they do these type of things all the time and have a way and a mechanism of scrubbing them from the books and never even being known, have ever being done. I wonder how many more of these have been scrubbed from the books.
3 federal agents, and I let them know that wasn't sitting, and this is in Salt Lake City, Utah, and that wasn't sitting well with me, and I'd like to know why we had almost a year before the election. They could have had me and another person in front of a grand jury in a week and gotten her indicted. They told me, this is word for word, Patrick, what's really going on is this. President Obama has his people across the federal bureaucracy at this point, but especially the Department of Justice. Hillary Clinton is going to be president for 8 years, and nothing's going to change that. But think of there being a Bunsen burner within the Department of Justice. That evidence about the 2 bribes you were part of gathering is going to be sitting on the Bunsen burner. And
so basically they were going to instill her, so all of this corruption would have never seen the light of day. The problem is Donald J. Trump. You see why they became so vicious and why they had to finally start exposing themselves and bringing to light some of the stuff that they have been doing for years, is because President Trump was not supposed to win that first election. He was not supposed to win, and had he not been, a freshman president, I think he would have found out a lot more dirt than he did, and he would have known what to do with it. But now, this presidency, he's making sure he's cleaning house, that this never happens to anybody again. These people were corrupt. These people were really, really corrupted. Everybody. And they did it to rob us, the American people, blind. They did, because they don't look at us as the purse strings. They look at us as an unending tap of money. And as you guys are seeing, we're running out. We're broke because they've mismanaged the shit out of our money for so many centuries or so many decades. And now we're here, and we got to figure this out, or we're going to go under, folks. I know you can't believe it. You're sitting here saying there's no possibility until you wake up one day and China is in our streets because we owe China trillions of dollars. Like, you folks. Ooh, you guys got to get right with history and figure out what's really going on here, because we're closer to something that we've never been closer to in our lifetime. Okay?
Hand on the Bunsen burner is going to be one of Barack Obama's people. If Hillary's a good girl and defends Obamacare, that flame stays low. If she's a bad girl and thinks for herself, it's going to get turned up high. That way, Barack Obama is going to manage Hillary Clinton for the 8 years she's president, and then she's going to step down, and Michelle's going to run. And Patrick, that's the plan. That plan was called the Operation Snow Globe. That was Brendan Obama's name for it. Snow Globe, they were trying to get Hillary to step into a snow globe. I'm looking for a prop. A snow globe that any
kind of what they did to Kamala Harris.
Time they wanted, they could then pick up and shake for 8 years. My bribe was the bait to get her to step into the snow globe. That's all from it. This isn't a theory. I'm the guy in the room. I'm acknowledging I took part in all this, and I thought I was helping them conduct federal law enforcement. It turned out that I was helping them set up Hillary Clinton for a deep state to control her.
So they were actually trying to get dirt on Hillary. They were trying to actually end up bribing her once she got into the White House, and it was Donald J. Trump, an unbribable man. That man doesn't need money. He doesn't want money. If he wanted money, he would have had up teen people help him, get elected. He put a lot of his money up, like $1 billion of his own money, to run for presidency. That I love. I wish more people would quit allowing people to buy them. And until we start looking at in my opinion, the underdogs, the statesmen instead of the politicians, we're always going to keep having these problems in our political makeup, because we're hiring career politicians. They don't care about us. We need statesmen. The difference between a politician and a statesman is a statesman loves his country. And every decision he makes for the betterment of the country, not the betterment of himself. And that's what we're looking for. However, every time we go to the ballot box, 90% of our votes go to the politician and not the statesman. We need to start changing that as a community and as a country. We need to start changing that. But talk about interesting. We all know that the National Guards are officially in Illinois. They can't deploy, but they're not required to go home at this moment. But they can't deploy. That means they're kind of just sitting ducks there. And this is the last little bit before we close out our show. We're only going to take the first, I think, 2 or 3 minutes of this, because this is going to be kind of our segue into our first topic of conversation on Right Move Broadcasting here on YouTube. We're going to start identifying topics, subject matters, versus just political news as a whole. And our first subject matter is going to be much like what this gal here did, which is the culture assassination, the left's dangerous new obsession, the assassination culture. Mine's going to be culture, assassination, when I start doing the work on it. But I found it very interesting. And this person here has brought up so many valid points.
And yes, sorry, mainstream media, it is coming from one side. Because part of the country doesn't just hate us and hates our values, but they are actively wishing death upon us. And no, this is not some fringe ideology. This is even coming from Democrat politicians whose cries for murder and violence upon their political opponents is being ignored or actively excused by their own political party. And I'm sure you can guess who they are actively blaming for this type of rhetoric. Now, before we get into that important topic, I want to tell you guys that starting next week, we are going to have a new show schedule for The Brett Cooper Show. We will be releasing episodes now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so actually 4 days a week now, including that weekend release. I also want to send you guys over to brettcooper.com. Make sure you are signed up for the newsletter because we have some exciting announcements and updates that are coming. My team has been working super hard while I have been in the newborn blissful bubble, trenches, whatever you want to call it. And so we are super excited. Assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say that it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk. 55% said the same thing about Donald Trump. In California, activists are naming ballot measures after Luigi Mangione. Now, you should also know that just a couple of weeks ago, Luigi Mangione's charges were dropped from a first-degree to a second-degree murder charge. And yes, people were celebrating and cheering in the streets. People were on camera talking about how they are in love with AI versions of Luigi. And again, this is a man that shot a healthcare CEO, a husband and a father in broad daylight. And they are celebrating this. Like, these are the types of people that Charlie is talking about here. The left is being whipped into a violent frenzy. Any setback, whether losing an election or losing a court case, justifies a maximally violent response. This is the natural outgrowth of left-wing protest culture, tolerating violence and mayhem for years on end. The cowardice of local prosecutors and school officials have turned the left into a ticking time bomb. Now, this tweet went viral quickly after Charlie's assassination for a really important reason, because reading this genuinely gives me chills, because Charlie was talking about the thing that would inevitably take his life. And this is just so heartbreaking to go back and read because the ticking time bomb that he was talking about went off on September 10th, and it has not stopped. Because the last 3 weeks have been an incredibly disgusting, horrifying display of violence and this exact assassination culture that Charlie was tweeting about. Because within days of his assassination, a bomb was lit, but failed to go off under a Fox News van in Utah that was covering Charlie's assassination. And you can see that right here. 2 men have now been arrested for this. Then, just a couple days later, there was a bomb threat at RFK Jr.'s home. Just days later, a 23-year-old man opened fire at a New Hampshire country club while screaming, "Free Palestine." And of course, they're still saying that there is no political motive. They have no idea why he would have done this. I'm sorry. The political motive is right there. Eyewitnesses have given you that motive. Now, just a couple days later, after that, again, we just have bing, bang, boom right after each other. A man shot into a local ABC News building, allegedly in protest of Kimmel being taken off the air. And he left a note warning that Trump officials would be next. This is all within 10 days of Charlie's assassination. Then just 2 days after that, another man shot into an ICE facility in Dallas, killing 2 detainees, although officials have said that he was probably aiming at ICE officials, considering that the bullets he left on the scene after killing himself were engraved with anti-ICE. Just take a listen to this video.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
And then here are the bullets in question. This was posted by Kash Patel quickly after the event took place.
So, as you see, lots of issues that are coming with left-wing violence against people that are conservative, religious, and or Republican. Because, and I have to say that because just because you're conservative and religious does not identify you as Republican. There are conservative religious Democrats, there are conservative religious independents, and there are conservative religious Republicans. There are conservative and religious people that don't even vote. So just because you're conservative and religious does not necessarily mean that you are Republican. I just want to make sure you know that, because I am begging the conservative religious faction of our country, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, to stand up and speak up, because this violence has got to stop. We just heard Benny Johnson. Somebody was just arrested that threatened Benny Johnson, and not only threatened Benny Johnson, but described exactly how he was going to be killed and how his children were going to be orphaned. This has got to stop. I don't understand. I think that the Democrat Party is in a crisis right now because it truly is. I don't think it's the Republicans' good versus evil fight. I think the good versus evil fight is going on in the Democrat Party because there are good people in the Democrat Party that are having to have a moral war with themselves between good and evil. I think we here are like, I know where I stand on every issue. You know, I'm not questioning that. I don't care what my party says or anything. It's not going to change who I am. It's not going to change my moral compass. This is who I am. This is how I am. I haven't changed myself since I was 18 years old on a lot of these causes. I don't foresee me changing myself just because my party says so. And right now we've seen a lot of changes in the Democrat Party, and you have a lot of old people, old timers in the party that still love the old Democrat Party, and they are having to come to the reality that their Democrat Party is not the same Democrat Party that they once loved, that there is no room for them there because there is no room for conservative Christian people in the party. They want you dead. They want you dead because it's not the Republican that they want dead. It's the conservative Christian that they want dead. And if you are a conservative Christian in the Democrat Party, well, honey, they want you dead. Your party wants you dead. Or to give up your morals. And that's the one thing about Christians. Christians are, you'll never be able to rule over Christians, because Christians, their faith is so superior to that of anything else. You can't dupe them. They have a moral compass within them, and that is the Bible. That is the truth. That is the way. And so whenever you have people that are wanting you to do things that are immoral, your religion is going to step up and stop you. And if you don't have a religion to step up and stop you, well, you're going to dive right in. And I think that that's what happened. The Democrat Party is so filled with people that don't believe, with people that have lost their way, with people that have lost God and lost their focus and lost, again, their way. And then you've got ones that know their way, know where they lie on these things, know that they cannot get on board with chaos and homicide. So I think the good versus evil is not necessarily with the world or America. It's in the Democrat Party, because it's the Democrat Party's fight, because they're fighting with each other right now. Evil versus good. We on the Republican, for the first time, us on this side, especially with this shutdown, we're united. I think the Republican Party, for the first time in a really long time, if not for anything else, for this shutdown, we are all on board with this shutdown. I don't think there's any of us that have not said, you know what, this is the right strategy. This is the right way to go. Even with the possibility of the women, the babies, the children not getting the assistance that they needed, it was still something we were willing to do, because $1.5 trillion we just don't have, and we are no longer going to hand over our money to foreign agents. We know that they're laundering our money, and these Democrat people keep getting our money, our taxpayer money that's being shipped over for all of these programs overseas, are coming back into their coffers. Explain that to me. No, we're not going to keep giving them money to keep doing this to America. Absolutely not. I'm trying to strangle the problem out, right? And the only way we can strangle the problem out is to take the money away. Once they have no money, they're not going to be doing this crap. They're doing this crap because they're getting paid to do this crap. You remove the payment, they ain't going to be out in these streets doing this nonsense. They're doing it because they're being paid to do it. They're being psychotic because they're being paid to be psychotic. That's why. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, guys, we are growing. We had 16 people today. I think even our channel might even have went up to a high of 22 people for this live show. We're going to keep working at it and keep building this channel. If you have not subbed up or you're on a replay crew, please consider subbing up to this channel and supporting a small channel. I am a political activist. I've been known as a political activist long before I became Bullhorn Betty, traveling all over the state of Florida and now all over the country. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I'm going to be putting my focus this year not in the state of Florida, but rather in the state of Kentucky and the state of Tennessee, where they do need help. There's a lot of small town corruption there. Tom Massey, Rand Paul need to get out of Kentucky. We need to instill who else do we need to instill? We need to instill Morris in. He's got to be there. He needs to take over Mitch McConnell's seat. And I think we're going to be doing really good if we can make some of those minor changes, 3 changes in the state of Kentucky over the next 2026 and 2028 elections. I think we'll be sitting really pretty in that state and can really start getting the country on track and start moving some of that corruption in the good old boys club that's in those small towns of Kentucky and Tennessee. We need to start closing up their shop and start making sure that the people in those states are not oppressed by their corrupted governments, local governments. So that's really my primary focus in those states. And once we get done and clean up the state of Tennessee and the state of Kentucky, maybe we'll start looking for other states. But right now, it's just getting out there, getting in front of people, getting in front of, having meetings with people that can make decisions. You're talking about a huge investment on my part to go out into Kentucky and to go out in Tennessee. These are 2 huge states. And it's a lot of driving and it's a lot of work, but we're going to have no other choice but to do it if we're going to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless you. And we will be going live on our main channel tonight at 7 o'clock. Tonight at 7 o'clock. Set your alarm clock. We will be there. Be there or be square. 7 o'clock tonight on our main show, the Bullhorn Betty channel. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you soon.